same time. That's where I am looking for you. Thinking back, just perhaps you got trapped like the rest of us. Never found a way to break through. Now we're here with a torch. Now we're here. Can you recognize the rescue party? We've finally come for you. Translucent new crusaders. With no agenda. No agenda.
Hey, I'm Miss Chrissy,
And I'm Steve.
and this is JAG Cast, episode 120, the podcast of the Jenkintown Arts Garage.
Yeah, where we talk to artists, entrepreneurs, and other interesting people at the intersection of the arts and technology.
Yeah, that's the plan, right? And nobody noticed that we changed the name, or did they notice?
I mean, I think they noticed if they watched the previous episode and then this one now. Yeah,
Well, I like your little video, Steve.
Yeah, that was
I
the first
dig
time
it.
you saw that.
I know. And you made it today, and I missed it because I was at archery. But it's super fun. I like it.
Yeah, and so we're in a bit of a rebranding here to transition to JAG Cast. Same great content, just better production values and a more unified brand.
Yeah.
As they say,
Yeah.
under the Jenkintown Arts Garage. We have a new URL and everything you saw in that video there, jagcast.show. So, but that's pretty cool. So I think hopefully this will, I don't know, bring us much riches. I don't know.
Growth.
I don't know, growth. I don't know.
Continuity. I don't know.
Basically, it was just getting to be too difficult for people to say the name. Like every time they would try to name the podcast, they were like, "You're like the part of the crime and the 172, the one." It was too much, too many numbers. Math should not be involved when naming something. So that's
No.
what we're trying to do this. Today we wanted to rebrand with the rebrand of the podcast. Want to bring in an interesting guest today that kind of goes along with the whole intersection arts and technology thing, because last night we also got a glimpse of that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, we were at BrainFest at
Yeah.
Broken Goblet, which we go to often, and there was this really cool duo. Is that who you're referring to? They were really cool.
Well, first I just want to say BrainFest is a 10th anniversary of this music festival that gets put on. It's a fundraiser for for brain cancer research, and there's going to be a fundraising link in the description below on the video and in the show notes for the podcast. So if you want to donate, that'd be much appreciated. But yeah, so it was at Broken Goblet, and we saw a few acts, and the one that really stood out, I think, was I'm going to butcher the name.
It's Christine Elise, and I'm doing this from memory. And what was the guy's name?
Cuff Knots or something.
Yeah, Cuff
That's what
Knots.
I can't remember the name. Well, it was like
Anyway, it was a hip hop dude and a woman playing harp.
a literal harp, like an illustration from my Catholic school books about heaven.
Yeah, it was cool. Very cool.
And what was neat about it was that he was up there, running the audio from a laptop and then rapping, and then she's literally playing like a harp. I can't even describe it because you just have to imagine a big giant harp. And it was really cool. It was like a literal physical representation of the intersection of arts and technology right there up on stage at Broken Goblet.
Yeah, it was very cool and very unique sound. It was fun. I liked it.
Yeah, and it was very cool. Hopefully I will find a link I can put in the show notes description for that too. But let's move forward, I guess, to introducing our guest here. Another interesting character at the intersection. This is my friend Kotaro.
You just want to say intersection, don't you?
I like the word intersection, yes. But tonight's
intersection.
Yes,
Just
tonight's
say it
guest
12 times.
Yes, today's guest is going to be our friend Kotaro. He's returning to the podcast. And we're having him on here because he's a really good artist and designer and app developer, and we thought we could talk to him about using digital technology, especially iPads, to produce art. And I thought it would be, I think, a fun conversation tonight. So let's welcome Kotaro.
Hello, I'm back.
Welcome
Well,
back.
I mean, to everybody
Clearly
watching,
I haven't
this is-
shaved, but
Oh yeah.
it's okay.
Well, now you got that cool background going on from the that app presentation, how to kill an app.
How to kill an app. That was a 3-part presentation for. So me and Steve here, for anyone who doesn't know, help run Philly Coco, which is a iOS Mac meetup group, basically for developers who work in that space. And the theme about it was kind of like the progression of how I started. Was it when I was building that dividend calc app?
Yeah,
And
this is the
then
dividend calc.
the struggles of maintaining it, and then the decision to ultimately take it off the App Store.
So did you actually kill the app?
I did kill the app. I killed it with
Prejudice.
yes, just extreme prejudice.
Yeah, it's a shame.
just because it's one of those things that's one of the hidden things about app development, especially maintaining an app, is the costs, especially if you have one that has a back end, where maybe you're getting the content down and you as the developer have to sort of cover the cost of maintaining that service. So whereas like art, a lot of when you do art and you draw and you post it up somewhere, like it's kind of a consumable. People just pay for either the art piece or some digital art, right? And you could do that, and that's more of a very straightforward exchange, right? Versus when the stuff that we're doing is much more subscription based, that kind of stuff, generally speaking.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe people don't realize how much design and artistic efforts go into building applications on your iPhone, for instance, or your iPad. And as you were saying, the big difference is that usually you have to pay for something as a developer or to make that work. Like there's a cost in keeping an application running, keeping it in the App Store, even if it does nothing else but run on your own phone. I mean, you, as a developer, you still got to have this continuing cost. So it's like a kind of a mixture of art and utility that will forever cost you some amount of money as long as it exists, which is...
You were almost about to say intersection.
I was. I'm trying not to.
Is that a common annoyance?
No, it's gonna be part of the drinking game for the show. Like,
Great.
The new show. How many times does Steve say intersection?
Let me get a little sip there.
Got my my Pepsi Zero here.
Same. I got some kind of Starbucks drink, but
oh man,
in any case,
we've talked about before, but Chrissy has her special drink of like super caffeinated something.
I know. I drank it too early today, and now I have water. Lame.
Oh, what's good?
It's probably healthier.
Hydration
Water's
is important.
good,
but so Kotaro, I mean, I think we talked about it a little bit before, but now you're on video, so we can talk about it again. Your journey here. How did you end up becoming this designer developer double threat that you are today? Like where did it all start?
I mean,
always into art.
I was much more into art when I was younger, so I would draw a lot, probably because of boredom. I think when you're a child or as children, if you don't have the toys that all your friends have, right, you kind of like, or if your parents leave you alone for don't put you into like some kind of special program, you're kind of left to your own devices. At least me, our generation growing up, I would think that's the case, but you would draw a lot. And sometimes it's a great way you can kind of like build your own world and live in that space. And it's kind of like a great way to express yourself, or a great way to sort of explore opportunities. I think when I got my first computer, a lot of times was spent, because I didn't know how to program back then. So a lot of time was spent writing stories of just like adventures, that kind of stuff, of like myself and my friends. We call it like the 3 bad dudes.
Oh,
and,
the 3 bad dudes.
Yeah, so it's the most hilarious thing, because we just come up with like really random stories, right? It would be like it started developing a certain cadence because it would actually be the three of us writing the story at the same time. So like together. So we'd be like, we run into Batman and Robin, like the 60s version of Batman and Robin. Was it the 60s or 70s? I forget. The one with the POW and the yam and that kind of stuff. And they would be the most, but we characterize them as the most rudest and kind of like condescending versions of that. So Batman would be like, it's like a sort of the straight man, and Robin would always be like, "You're such an idiot,"
like a punk rock Batman.
Yeah, like Batman would just be way too into his Batmanness. You just have to stop this crime, and Robin would be like, "Why? I mean, all they're doing is stealing candy. Is it really worth our time?" And the three of us was sort of like, it'd almost be like a Scooby-Doo episode where we'd be just like escaping all the antics, escaping Batman and Robin with all these sort of random antics. So it was kind of like a nice, like, I remember that being like a nice way of like spending afternoon. As weird as that sounds.
Yeah,
but I think one of my
before
friends,
all of the technology distract us.
Yes. I think programming was one of the things where they teach you in high school. Very basic programming.
You got to learn in high school.
Yeah, because I went to engineering science, so in high school, so they had a program where you had a chance to like sort of learn how to program, and I think from there, just basic stuff, the generic vanilla stuff. It was procedural back in the day, so it was like really simple. Like I think the advanced class had like, I forgot the term. You know how like back in the day they would say train a program to say something like, to know somehow like I am there, I speak therefore I am, or something like that nature. But like,
okay. So you're making like some kind of virtual weird Descartes or something, like
a weird AI kind of thing. Like it was AI.
I made a chatbot before, like a long time ago. That was in college.
Yeah, I forgot exactly what it was. I mean, it wasn't really AI or anything that complicated, but like it was like trying to build something to like mimic that kind of experience. But I didn't get that far. Is my point. Spending way too much time playing with the free SimCity. So
oh my god, the free SimCity. In high school, I had access to that. I think before a lot of other people did on the network, and because I was in like the internet club. I don't know but I remember playing that endlessly. It's the original SimCity on the network. I had Toltville.
What was the weirdest like construction you ever did?
I don't know, weird. I kind of played it straight. I tried to make like a mega powerful metropolis full of energy, and then like stupid monsters would come and destroy it all the time. And like the nuclear power plants would get destroyed by like aliens. Yeah, and then like
you can turn that off, right?
Yeah, you can, but that was kind of the fun part.
My dad is an economist, or he's retired now, but he played it for a little bit, and his point of view about the sort of old school version is like, well, if you get rid of all the roads, then you just have tracks everywhere. You don't need to worry about a good chunk of the problems that's in this game. That's great, because you always have to worry about road blockage, traffic, and some other things in that game.
I wonder how the little Sims would get around. It was like they just train go by their
public transportation.
It was just tracks that went by everywhere.
Just trains everywhere. It was
all the steel on SimCity Earth went to make tracks around your city. Did you actually build that?
No, I've been meaning to, but it's like the game was so basic back then. Like if you try to do that now with whatever the new version is, I'm sure they've taken care of that little like silly. They probably would have made it more complex.
Yeah, I'm sure, but that was a really fun game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I guess getting back on course, I think most of the time was my younger years were spent trying to make comic books. And when I went to college, I went into engineering, which I am not prepared for. I don't think anybody, unless you are in advanced calculus, nobody's really ready to be in engineering, to be an engineering major in my mind. Like there's so much you just have to catch up on. So I had to pivot mid-college and switch to comp sci, which turns out was a better career choice.
That's cool
overall, because that like right at the beginnings of the web was like when that came to pass, and I think then was much more about like I could I could be a little more expressive because I think that was like the web page days, and there was like a little more Wild West nature to it, and you can do a lot more. You can kind of mix that intersection, if you will, of just programming, but like because you're kind of messing with like two different sides of the brain. And as much as I hate to use that term, but like you're trying to figure out a problem of like creating this program, and then maybe you want to create a interesting interface on it. So you have to like create a user interface that is aesthetically pleasing enough, easy to understand, easy to read, doesn't get too wordy, or if it's wordy for a reason. Like there's a lot of complexities mixed, and the sort of finding the medium ground between that is what's fascinating.
Yeah, I remember working on my high school's webpage. Like we originally, like students were allowed to make the official webpage for the high school for a while, and we were making that. I remember just all the effort I went into trying to make like a button bar on the sidebar. Like I just wanted I had the design. I think I was using Paint Shop Pro, and then I was trying to make like little 3D looking buttons, and then I was trying to figure out some JavaScript, like early JavaScript, to like make the little buttons depress, and like I made all these I made like little fake buttons that looked like you indented when you clicked them, and I spent all this effort and used tables. Remember tables for getting everything formatted properly, and it was a lot of fun, but a lot of work too, just to get like basically just an elaborate way of showing some text, because that's mostly what it was, some text and some low res images.
I mean, that was during a period of like Photoshop days where like a lot of the more like rich textured buttons or that kind of stuff, you needed to have those type of skills, going back to like having a sense of aesthetics, of like understanding art, just as a sort of like a UI point of view. And just, but back then I didn't really have, like I drew a lot, but not necessarily paid attention to like color theory or graphic design principles or anything like that.
So did you study all those things, like graphic design principles and color theory, like in addition to all the like program? It's interesting to me. I don't know. You know what I mean? Did you like as part of your education that stuff?
Yes.
Or no?
I don't know if you got my form response, but I did say remind me about the UArts question.
Oh.
So I worked at UPenn for a long period of time, and during that period of time, when I started working, it was like my first job, and they have a program that allows you at the time that allows you to go to any school you want, assuming that it's relatively reasonably close to what your job description. And they had but I didn't want to go get an MBA, go through the whole process of taking I forgot the MBA's version is like a GRE or GSTAT, one of the two. And I was like, I'm like, do I really need it? Do I really want it? And then one day, epiphany came into my head. It's like, oh, I can go to art school. I don't know if you ever had those moments.
I went to art school, so
yeah. So, but I mean, like, maybe where like maybe there are a few times in your life where you're like, oh, this is what I want to do, right? Like, so I think then like it was just a quick pivot to figure out, can I do it? And then I think my boss was like, yeah, sure, but maybe you want to stick on more the commercial arts side of things, which is fine. And then B, which school would accept me, right? Because I didn't have a portfolio at the time. So I went to UArts's, it's not their orientation, but it's like kind of like they're like, it's like, okay, you can like reserve for an interview, and then they kind of like walk you through the UArts program and kind of like the facilities. And they made me do the whole thing, right? The whole tour, until finally we got back. And then they were like, oh, by the way, you cannot be a part-time student.
Oh, that's what you're trying to do.
Well, maybe I should have led with that question, but
yeah.
It was kind of like one of those things where it's like, oh, it's like you need a portfolio. You cannot be part-time. No if buts, and whereas like that is not an acceptable, that we cannot accept you if that's the case. And then And then there was another one, but regardless, like those two ultimately like killed that dream. But Art Institute, which is actually closer in many ways at the time, took a took a look at my sketchbook and was just like, yeah, sure, we'll take you. And within 3 days, I was enrolled in Art Institute.
Nice.
Which is like admittedly comparatively not as great in that sense, but I loved every minute of it, because the facilities at the time, they have all the access to all the equipment and all the software you could ever want or ever need. There were very motivated people if you knew where to find them. They were all there was a lot of talent that was running through there, because I went to school there for about 7 years, like part-time, before they basically couldn't accept me anymore. I mean, not accept me, but like I had to graduate basically. So I think from there, it was a great experience because they sort of gave you sort of like a broad strokes of like all different types of disciplines, whether it be typography, graphic design principles, even speech taking. I don't know the term exactly, but like doing speeches. I remember that was a fun one.
Oh, that's cool.
The photography, like basic photography. But like what was the other one that was really like, but they ultimately, my degree was in media arts and animation, and I focused mostly on 3D animation. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
So like, did you ever get to work on like a Pixar movie?
No, but I know friends that have. The sad but realistic point of view about it is like, once you graduated in the with the animation degree, you're gonna move or go somewhere that is like California or New York or someplace that has studios that will hire you, that can hire you. And then from there, but likely won't hire you. So you have to almost take a master's degree, but it's not bad. It's just like more boot campish, where they take all what you've learned at Art Institute, which is much more of like a generalist. Like if you look at a portfolio of an Art Institute kid, they're more like a generalist skill set. Like I'm good at a little bit of environments, a little bit of character, a little bit of special effects, whatever. And they might go, okay, now we're going to like condense you into one skill set. So maybe you're a good modeler, or maybe you're good with textures, or maybe you're good with backgrounds, or maybe you're good with machines, or maybe you're good at rigging characters up. Like you become much more specialized, but your knowledge becomes deeper in that particular skill set, because then they can hire you to be in a studio pipeline. So like if Marvel, if it's a Marvel movie, you're gonna do tons of and your skill set is just making character designs, then you're just focused on that. And that's your career basically.
Yeah. Well, so you graduated, and then what did you didn't obviously go to California and become an artist there. So like, what was your thinking once you graduated about what you were going to do?
Well, the thinking was like, I could do this forever, but that wasn't the I think ultimately I was sort of ready for a career change anyway, and that was when mobile was getting to become really hot. So like I think the iPad had come out at that point around that time. Yeah,
so you had a comp sci degree at this point, and then
comp sci degree, and then
you went to the
arts and animation degree,
and then the iPhone came out like around when you graduated.
Maybe a little before. So I forgot when the iPad came out in that conversation.
Okay.
But it was close around the time when the iOS SDK had come out, so people could program on the iPhone. That was like on the iPhone.
A year after the original iPhone came out, I think.
Yeah. So, but when the iPad came out, it was much more about like, I was still working for the hospital at the time, and my director of Department of Medicine was like talking about how annoying it is to have all this paper and not have access to it, and like I just want some kind of big tablet that will tell me this. I could take with me, and I don't want to have to carry these computers on a dashboard or whatever. And
like lug around a big laptop. Like that's what
yeah,
we were doing
yeah.
when I was in like high school and into college. I mean, that's what people were doing.
Yeah,
These big.
I mean, they
big
called them
laptops.
cows because they
Cows.
had like computers on wheels was the
Oh
term,
yeah,
was the
yeah, yeah,
acronym.
yeah.
And they basically had like carried like machines, the laptops on like
I remember this. I did
on
support this
rollers.
stuff in high school. In
Yeah,
my tech school,
and
we had computers like that.
and my and it was like, and that was the day of, actually. And I told my director, I was like, well, Apple was coming out with something like that. It's like, and she was like, how much? And I was like, oh, 1,000. Maybe that's the rumor. And it's like,
Yeah.
and she said, and she didn't even blink. She was like, buy it. We're gonna do some work on that. We're gonna build stuff on it. And I remember me and my project manager at the time just looked at it, like in utter shock that she was just like, whatever. Like, this was something that we would fight tooth and nail to get budget for. And she didn't care. Of course, it just turned out to be even cheaper at 500, so it was an even easier sell. And the beauty of that is, like, in that era of iOS development, you still need to have good Photoshop skills, because everything was in the era of skeuomorphism, which was basically another term for like saying, okay, if I'm doing like a form with an envelope in it, I have to make it look like an envelope or something with some backgrounds, thing, or if it needs to look like if it's like a form, it needs to look like a piece of paper or something of that nature. So there were a lot of different hilarious, I guess, over the top user interfaces at that time. And it got so bad that we almost went in reverse with iOS 7. So everything was like flat, and no more textures, no more linen, none of that crazy stuff.
So these devices came out. You had iPhones and then iPads, and we had the skeuomorphic design aesthetic. So it was mimicking real world stuff. Like you'd have like an MP3 player or something. It looked like a radio, and you'd have like a TV set was the icon, I think, for YouTube when that came on there and stuff. And then like Notes had like paper texture. That actually lasted a long time. But then we go to iOS 7 where it was like textures are now verboten. Everything, it was just, the only thing you got was like levels of transparent glass. That was the most you could work with at the time. Yeah. And they quickly backtracked from that after, like, even by the end of the beta period a little bit. But I remember the first keynote for that, I was like, that was crazy. Like, no one's going to be able to understand how to use this.
Well, the funny thing is, like, I mean, I get the sort of like you've completely killed the personality of these apps, but it was also like, it got to a point where skeuomorphism was kind of like at its furthest extreme of like, I'm just trying to like make this much more harder on the developers to actually support this stuff. And the developers themselves, if you were a developer, like a single indie developer, like to build these sort of textures, you would have to hire an artist or to create these textures and then have it, have to support that. I mean, it got a little much, to be fair. And I think resetting and going back to like much more flatter designs allows for like this eventual evolution to be, and it was much easier to be more accessible from that standpoint. But like, it allowed for the focus back on the content. So the photos, the text, the typography, like be a little more minimalist in the presentation of the app. Of course, people broke that almost in day one, but that was sort of the general kind of direction that Apple wanted everyone to go. Over time, I've actually personally am okay with that idea. I think that now becomes much more about, if you look at an app now, a good app would be better at animation than anything else. So
yeah, it feels like at least now the apps are very much focused on being, well, they focus on the content, but also the animations are very important now. Like the fluid, fluid animations and fluid. It's just less about texture now. I guess because people understand.
I almost think if you want to really be a good contributor to app development, or if you want to be a good app developer, you almost have to get good about animation.
Yeah, I'm not very good. I'm trying.
Or just even understanding animation principles, sort of the ease in, ease out, the default, what the default means. It just in terms of like how you make one shape churn, move from here to here, or to zoom in, zoom out, and give it the sense of personality that it requires. I mean, I'm thankful for the fact that I did take media arts and animation, because it was a combination of two things: the visual aesthetics plus the way to make these things breathe life with them, make them breathe life with your animations. So
okay. And so on the topic of like iPad specifically, what would you what kind of apps do you find are really great for your creative outlet on the iPad, besides when you're not making apps yourself? Like, what are you using on the iPad? Because
I've experimented with a few in the past, but so my general feeling about their iPads are generally, in my mind, as somebody that likes to do digital art, is kind of like a nice Wacom alternative, right?
Yeah, Wacom being,
so if you don't,
there's
Wacom,
the tablet. They were like the I don't know. How do you describe them? They're pen.
They're
based things.
Yeah. So it's a company that makes a lot of stylists, and tab, kind of like tabs. Normally, originally it was like a separate control tab, separate tab that you plugged in. Really durable. I mean, to this day, you could probably still use Into OS 3, which is just this tab that you can just write on, and then you can see your art being in Photoshop that you would create your digital art on. And I used it pretty much exclusively throughout my quote unquote career at Art Institute as like my primary tool to draw digital comics or digital art in general. It's used it's used throughout the industry. Now you can do it so that you can buy a big screen, a big monitor, and then you can draw on top of directly. So there's a tactile feel to it. There's a direct relationship between your hand to the pen to the art, and you don't have to sort of like look up, kind of do this thing where you're drawing and you're looking at the screen, and there's sort of like a slight disconnect. Now the beauty about the iPad is because of the especially I should mention the iPad Pro at the time, with a refresh rate of like 120 hertz. You get that instant feedback, or what feels like instant feedback of like when you draw with the Apple Pencil, it feels almost as if you're drawing like it's catching up, because there's usually a delay with Wacom tablets. Like usually if you draw a line on a Wacom tablet, you can still feel like a slight delay, not too much, but enough for you to notice it. I think there's less so on the Apple Pencil, with Apple Pencil and the iPad Pro. It's just much easier, and it feels a little more connected in that sense. And from that standpoint, I've used it a lot more. It's become my Wacom replacement, basically. And so I use an app called Procreate. Procreate is an app on the iPad. It's absurdly cheap in a lot of ways. I can't speak to the price nowadays. Even if it was $20, it's still cheap because it's a one-time price. So you buy it, and all the upgrades you get for free, perpetuity. I'm shocked they haven't changed that subscription.
Yeah, they don't do the subscription. Didn't you used to do like a Procreate drawing a day or something when you were on Instagram?
Yeah. So they have another version of this on the iPhone. So there's the iPad version, and then there's the iPhone version for like $4 or something. On the and the iPhone version is great because you can draw a ton on the, like I used to draw, used to have a lot of free time on the bus, obviously. And on the bus, if you have some free time, there's nothing better than just being able to just randomly create drawings. There's no sort of rhyme or reason of what I draw. I'll just draw it because I'm trying to experiment with a brush, or I'm trying to trying to like work on a different style, or I'm just trying to play with textures, and like I don't know what I'm making, to be honest. Like there's definitely no intentions behind any of it. So like some of the more abstract stuff, maybe, well, this isn't that abstract, but like,
Oh, that's
you know,
pretty cool. What is that, like a skeleton?
yeah, basically. Like it's funny because like a lot of these I'll like, this doesn't have, I don't know if it's a Birdman thing or whatever, but like I don't have any particular like my ride and the bus these days are like 30 minutes. That hasn't changed that much, but from like when I was doing it before. But I would take that time to draw maybe like a 10-minute drawing, of just random things. And yeah, I mean, if you want to just get a sense, like the initial reason for me drawing it in the first, or using it in the first place, was to just play with color theory a little bit and just get a sense of like just getting comfortable with color. I think that's one of the more tougher tougher challenges of like of like of like of this, of my skill set, like because I used to draw a lot of black and white. Getting comfortable with color was one of the harder, surprisingly harder things for me. So this was a good opportunity for me to really just play with the brushes, play with the art, and not be so rigid about like what I, whether it's good art or bad art. It was just me sketching, for better or for worse.
And
turns
so
out that I ended up using it for like a zine or something like that. So
you
it turned out
did
to
a
be
zine?
okay. Yeah. I don't know what happened to it. I have it somewhere, but yeah.
So like Procreate, I know that comes up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And but like I know you were making an app. You're that's related to animation. Still, it's still in progress. Mm-hmm. If someone wants to, like a younger person wants to get into like so-called digital art, whatever that means, like Procreate's obviously one of them. Like, is there some kind of app that's decent for animation, like learning the ropes of animation?
Flip Clips is a good one. I like Flip Clips.
Clips.
CalPeg is another one that's a little more like, it's a little more quote unquote pro.
Okay.
They're both subscription. Actually, let me rephrase that. I think one is an in-app purchase, so you buy it and you get it. You get it. It's free. You get to play with it. There's some limited things like export features, that kind of stuff. But if you buy an in-app purchase, I think you can get, like, if you paid like $20, you can do a subscription, or you can pay $20 for like the full, the full-on app.
Yeah.
And
what are these apps that you do? Like, you draw, like you learn the basics of animation, like a flipbook style. Is that what one of them was like? So I was trying to.
Yeah, it's similar. Yeah. I think it's similar to my app in that sense of like, there's like not a grid, but like a row of frames, and you just pick which frame you want to work on at the time. I think what's tough about modern, like if you're trying to make a one that's much more sketchy versus like a pro app, so like an animation studio could use it. I don't know. I know like clip, was it clip art or clip something? I'm forgetting the name. That's really a big one that people use a lot. Clip Studio. Has some animation components, but that's really meant for more of a comic book graphic design, comic book style of art. So it's used in that space much more than maybe like animation, but you can use it for animation.
Yeah. So you, if I guess kind of related to this, if you want to get into like the app space as a designer, like, what's an easy on-ramp for someone now? I mean, now on the Apple side, we've talked about this before. You have, playgrounds for learning the software, the coding part of things. Yeah. And like, what's a way of kind of like onboarding as a designer for that, and maybe doing something like sticker packs or icon design, or like what kind of advice would you give someone who's more design focused than programmer focused, and they want to get in on maybe like making apps or contributing in some way to that area?
So I guess if you want the dumbest, not the dumbest, but the easiest way to make Like if you, let's say you're an artist, let's say, and I've worked with a few artists in that sense of like, you would in a sort of like a pseudo partner, partnership in the sense of like, we would create, you can do a sticker pack, which is Apple's message app store product. So you can bundle it in what fundamentally is an app, but really target to the iMessage app store. So if you go into, if you open up Messages app, you sometimes see like a little section, like an app store icon in right where your keyboard should be. If you press that, it opens up its own app store. And in there, people put up like, most companies and people will put up like their own style of set of images. They can be animated GIFs, or they can be just basically art, your own art, and just post it up like ideally maybe 12 to 20. That seems about reasonable these days, and charge like $1 to $2. Not a lot of money for sure, but like depending on like if you can find the right context. Let's say you find like a Valentine's theme one, and I haven't seen it yet, but it, you probably could do one about diamond hearts or something.
Yeah.
Somebody who can just draw diamond hearts that are gorgeous looking will probably like clean up on Valentine's Day or that kind of stuff. And you want to make sure you set like when you create these sticker packs, don't just do a random sticker pack and hope that it does well, because Apple will see right through that. If they're going to promote your sticker pack, ideally what you want to do is something a little more focused around a specific theme that for example, will be like a seasonal theme, like Halloween. I did one about masks or something like that. Or there was like a whole little trend of mask based stickers for a while. I can't believe people find these things. Right.
The sticker packs.
Where do you get a sticker pack?
What's that? Where do you get it?
Yeah.
You can open up your Messages app. Let me actually do it myself if I remember correctly. You open up your Messages app, you go into one of your threads, like say one with your child or something. And then in the bottom, there should be like a blue, an icon, like a blue icon with like an A on it, which stands for app. If you tap on that, it'll open up the App Store. But it'll open up a custom version of it that's only focused on sticker packs. And most people give theirs for free. Yeah, this is like one of those like secret spaces in the App Store.
There's things that like Apple does, they just never promote.
I suspect it's the kind of thing that the kids would know, but the adults will not, because it's just one of those things nobody cares about. But you can, the beauty is that because it's not a very well-known space, you could probably like build like a very small little bit of niche business in that sense. If you're like an artist or a local artist and you have a distinct style, right? So if you do like a winter, one about Christmas, one about, I don't know, horoscopes, one about, which I don't see enough good ones, to be honest. One about, let me think, fireworks or 4th of July or patriotic stuff, or even cultural stuff that's not US specific, like Diwali or something of that nature. You can find like little niches that don't bring you like a whole ton of money, but in the aggregate can bring you a decent chunk of change over time.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's fine.
Pizza money.
Pizza money.
So maybe we should make a JAG sticker pack, Chrissy. What do you think?
A JAG sticker pack?
Yeah.
Maybe. Who's buying it? You? Me?
Jenkintown themed sticker pack, maybe.
Oh, Jenkintown sticker pack could work. GTP 19046.
Sure. If you just did, and all you need to do was 12, you can bundle it. And basically there's just a bunch of images that you put into a folder. You bundle it up, you put an app icon, and then you ship it to the App Store. Apple will decide whether they have issues with it, but that's okay. Steve knows what to do. Steve can handle that part. And then voila, it's on the App Store. You have an app.
So that's very cool. Very cool. So there's
so that's the easy way to do it.
The easy way of doing it, yeah.
I mean, again, it's nothing more than maybe a few dollars a day, a month,
if anything.
But again, in the aggregate, if you wanted to like really focus on like refined, like really good quality ones, you might be in good shape.
Nice.
I suspect.
Yes. Are we ready for a game called something? Is that the plan here, Steve?
I think we are. I think we are. Like Kotaro has been giving me a like a crash course in here in how to do art on the iPad. And we
Art
could talk
on the
forever, but
iPad.
I think though we should.
I find that there are plenty of art apps out there. I mean, if
Yeah.
Procreate isn't your thing, and granted because it's a paid upfront program, you could do.
It's not like a lot though.
There's plenty of apps that do like you download for free, and if you like it, you pay more for like the higher end features.
Yeah.
So I find that that's a great opportunity. There's a couple of apps that are that allow you to do stuff like lay out your house in 3D, or like prosumer type of apps.
Yeah.
Or so for architects or interior designers, I think the iPad's one of those really weird spaces in apps where, or for content creator types, that they can do special effects in there. Now with Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro and LumaFusion, you can do a lot of video editing and audio design,
like on an iPad. Yeah,
on an iPad. Some people make their living making beats on an iPad.
Yeah, it's really remarkable how much stuff you can do just on iPads nowadays. And and WWDC, the big Apple developer conference that Coulter and I are going to be virtually attending.
Watching.
We're going to watch it, yes. And they might be announcing like a new like ski goggle VR AR thing. So we could have a whole bunch more stuff to talk about on a future episode.
Sure.
About this. So
we could just look ridiculous. I guarantee you, you're never going to look cool wearing those things.
Yeah. But I think we're just going to have to hold off on that until next time, because Chrissy wants to play a game called something. Wait, what is that? Hold that up, Chrissy. Hold it up. Oh, there it is. It's a physical game.
It's looking rough, but that's okay. All right, Kotaro.
A game called something. Do you remember this from last time?
Games. I don't remember, but
I think we played it with you last time. So a game called something is more of it's more of an activity. Chrissy has a bunch of cards that are colored, and you're going to choose a color, and Chrissy's going to pick a question from that color, and then ask the question. We all answer it and learn something about each other. And usually this is when the podcast goes completely off the rails if it hasn't already. So, Coulter, you've been such like a good guest. You've just been giving like tons of useful information, and it hasn't gone off the rails yet. So it's kind of surprising.
All right, well, we gotta start somewhere.
There's still hope.
There's still hope. We can have a train wreck.
It's not like our podcast where it's always a train wreck, but whatever.
Yeah. That's the Philly Coca podcast side project Spotlight.
It's not like
we're
a train wreck over there.
We are.
Guarantee it.
I like to bring that sensibility over to this podcast too a little bit.
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it.
But let's do it. So what are the colors we got today?
We have gray. We have orange. We have yellow, green, and brighter orange.
I will go with gray because that's the most offbeat of them.
Okay. What was your favorite birthday party?
like my own when we attended?
Yeah, I was about to ask.
We're both.
It's an open-ended question. I know you guys are too literal.
I know we're gonna make you crazy.
So
whatever you think, Kotaro, in the
or your
meaning
favorite
of that
birthday memory.
Birthday memory. Birthday memory. Jeez.
Favorite birthday party.
I can only remember, at least for myself, when I was maybe in 5th grade, like that was probably the biggest birthday I ever had. Was it 5th grade? No, I'm not sure. Maybe. I just remember, the only thing I can remember was being really excited at getting a Dinobot from the Transformers series. And it was the pterodactyl one, Swoops, I think the name was.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know why, but like that was the highlight and when I think back in context, it's like that was like I don't know, of all the Dinobots, that was like the one that was like the least coolest. But
it was the lamest one. Was that one?
The most obscure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. Maybe
I
not.
think everybody wanted the ones that transformed into the bigger Transformers.
bigger,
And the Dinobots did that too, didn't they? But you had to get all of them.
Oh no,
Or
they
did they
didn't do
not?
that.
I don't remember.
They
Okay,
didn't-
it
well,
was
not until recently, but
okay, it was the Constructicons, or whatever they're called,
Constructicons,
did that, right?
yeah. But
And
I didn't care.
Voltron, which is not
I was
Transformers.
I was into dinosaurs and I was into
Yeah, me too. I like
Transformers,
dinosaurs.
and you just merged the two together, and I was like, yes, I'm the happiest.
That's
But
awesome.
I can't.
So that was
with probably with some time I could think of a better answer, but that's the one that just pops up right now.
I see.
Steven,
I've
do you have
answered
a
this
favorite-
question before.
You have.
I've answered before, and I said it was my 40th before, because we went down to
still your 40th.
Yeah, we're gonna go with that, because it was when we went down to long time listeners heard this, but I don't know if Coulter has this. When we went down to where was it, Maryland, to see a little tiny lighthouse.
Yeah,
It was smaller than my bedroom. It was, I mean, and it was like only like a story tall, and then we went to see our friend Ed Neenan, who is the E. Joseph in the theme music here we play for the podcast. That's the same Ed. And we went down to see him perform with one of his bands at this place. And we also had some delicious crab cakes. So it was really great. And you made it all a big surprise for me. So,
I did.
Coulter, I didn't even
Despite your resistance to surprises or
Yeah, I
not
hate
knowing what
surprises.
was happening.
Yeah, I hate surprises. But
I know Steve long enough to know exactly what state of mind he'll be in.
yeah,
Why do we gotta go here? Why do we gotta do this?
yeah,
Why does it
yeah,
that?
exactly.
I don't know what to pack. How am I going to know what to pack if you don't tell me what
Exactly.
we're doing?
How much sunscreen do I need? I'm
Yeah, I
pale.
know.
Look at
How do I
that.
know what kind of pants to wear? Do I need pants or do I need shorts?
I know.
Yes.
I
Exactly.
begin to wonder if the best way to mimic Steve's speech pattern is to just drink a lot of coffee, and then that's
That works. That's basic. It's
how we
it's
get
like
it.
I at least run on coffee. I mean, not as much as Chrissy does nowadays, but a lot.
Oh my goodness.
What about you, Chrissy? What's your favorite birthday?
My favorite birthday memory was my 5th birthday party at McDonald's in Richboro, Pennsylvania.
Oh yes.
It was a classic McDonald's birthday party, with the
Because
toy.
Ronald McDonald and the burglar guys
Meal.
terrified
Yep,
everybody.
and the Happy Meals and
It's all about the Happy Meals.
what was that purple one? Grimace? Is that his name?
Grimace.
That's
Yes, the
It was
Grimace.
the creepy one. The super. Well, okay. Ronald McDonald was kind of
Look,
creepy as a clown,
He
but I
was-
mean,
it
Grimace was
was
a weird
ju-
purple
it
monster.
was just an exposed. What was it? What's that purple drink?
What was he? What was
Slushy.
the-
It was like a slushy.
Is that what it
right?
was?
He's not a
Is that what it was?
slushy, is he?
What is it?
I
Grimace
don't know.
was a
Where's
slushy.
the internet when you need it?
Look, there was one character that just stole food,
That
and
was
then
the
there was one that was a
Hamburger.
clown, and then there was one that was a purple monster. I don't know.
I'm gonna look it up.
What is McDonald's Grimace?
Hold on.
I
What
don't know
is
if I should trust
Grimace?
the New York.
We should
New
ask
York Post.
ChatGPT. What
New York
is?
Post is like the first link to this.
What is Grimace? Here
Yeah,
we
you should
go.
ask ChatGPT. I'm now curious.
That's
What
really
is
funny.
Grimace for
What?
McDonald's supposed to be?
People.com has a.
Oh my
article.
God. Someone said he might be a swollen purple taste bud.
Oh my God! I'm
Goodness.
sure that's not
No,
it.
That cannot
That
be.
can't be right. That's a
I'm
large.
telling you, he is a purple
He's a
slushy.
large,
Like,
rotund, indeterminate species.
what?
What?
Is he
That's what it
is he like in
says.
is he like in the gritty kind of category of like indescribable creatures?
I don't know. Does any?
That
I
cannot
hope
be true.
everybody knows. If everybody doesn't know what
Oh
this,
my goodness, this is horrible. This is really horrible.
if you don't know what
It's
this
funny.
is, that's what.
That is what.
Oh,
the
there you
That's what
go.
Grimace
Grimace
is.
anyway.
A large, rotund being of indeterminate
I'm
species.
telling you.
What
and
is
best
that?
Friend of Ronald McDonald.
That's
oh my
Ronald McDonald's
goodness,
best friend. I
no.
told you it's gonna go off the rails.
Wow.
Look, what
He
is that thing? Okay, anyway, it creeped
is
me out.
actually a villain.
Is that Grimace? Is that the right picture?
Grimace is
Yeah,
actually
that's
a villain.
Grimace.
Was actually a villain early on. Does not resemble a milkshake. I don't think I ever.
Wait,
expected
McDonald's
him to be a
manager,
milkshake.
Claire. Oh, there's a Claire a burning question. Okay, so this is from 2021. I just thought the picture is hilarious. He has a selfie stick now and everything.
All right.
I don't know. I don't know. It's a sad
ChatGPT,
time
I'm-
that they don't have those little play places
What?
anymore. I'm sad about that.
Is
But
Grimace? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
I
wait, they
wish
don't.
did. They don't anymore, apparently. Yeah,
no, they're kind of gross if you think about it. But it is sad.
that's
I mean,
because children are gross.
yeah, kind of.
Right.
Oh my God, my daughter. So Amelia, I tell her now that she has to go touch grass because otherwise she'll just sit on
That's just
her
another like.
devices.
It's an internet idiom that
Anyway,
Is
so
that
she
just
gets
another
her.
way to say that it needs to smoke weed? Is
No, it just means you have to go outside.
yeah.
oh, okay.
But so she has a penny board, but she doesn't know how to ride it. So she sits on it and then rides down these little hills. Well, we set all this up, I ran home to like, just check in and stuff. And I was talking to the neighbors and I had to get a Band-Aid and the guy knows you. And I was like, who? And then she's like, and then Cynthia and her friends came by and picked me up and drove me home. I'm like, what the hell happened in like 15 minutes? She like, it was funny though. But it was making me think of disgusting kids because she's like, look, my knee was bleeding and the blood was running down my leg. And I'm asking the neighbors.
She
and
was
then
trying to.
petting
She
their
was trying
dog.
at JDA Day. Like I was going over there to work. That was the event that for Jenkintown Dance Arts, like 10th anniversary. It was a little while ago, and I was going over there to help. And Amelia was trying to pull me down the street to show me where she fell and like hit her head on the or she fell or something, and then hit her head. She fell.
Well, no, then
over
she
there.
was riding. She uses her hand. Okay, so I know all of this sounds bad because she's gonna get, but she's gonna be fine. Okay, she's just sitting on a penny board. Like she's not standing. She's gonna be fine. But so sometimes she uses either her feet or her like hands to slow herself down.
She got her those gloves that they use for the
okay.
those guys
Except
that
then
super
the other
fast.
day she walks up the hill and she's like, "Mom, I kind of swooshed my hand through some dog poop." I'm like, "Oh God,
my God!" You swooshed like it was just on the ground, like on the pavement.
Yeah, so like she used her hand to slow herself down.
This is
gross.
This is how you build your immunity,
That's right, exactly. It's going to be super immune. It's have like Wolverine's immune system now.
So kids are gross, but I do miss those play places.
So do we want to do another question?
All right, come on, Kotaro, pick one more here.
One more.
Orange.
Which orange? Regular orange or bright orange?
Oh,
it's a tough call.
Go with bright orange.
Bright orange. Okay.
Everybody likes bright orange.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. Jag orange.
Yeah, we have a specific orange color.
Oh, I didn't realize that was based on this color theme palette.
No, I mean the color theme is what it is. The color orange in her book. I don't know what that is.
Gotcha.
I'm just looking through the questions.
She's gonna
deciding
is she just quickly running through ChatGPT?
You know what? We should ask like Bing.
Oh, that'd be funny. We should
give us
do
some
that.
Questions next time. So we could do it live.
This is so random. Okay, what's the weirdest food you've ever eaten?
Weirdest food I've ever eaten. Oh man, I do love food though. That's the challenge. Weirdest food. Let me think about this very carefully. I had crocodile. I had a crocodile chicken finger once. But that doesn't count really, does it?
That doesn't count. A crocodile finger doesn't count.
Rabbit
I think I was going to say that. I think that was my answer.
I thought that was your answer.
I think that's my answer.
I'm trying to think. Like, I'm sure there's weirder foods I've had, but I had a live octopus killed in front of me. It was it was in Japan, where basically the chef. There's like a whole, it's like a whole like demonstration where the chef will like show you the octopus grabbing the hand and then literally like killing in front of you.
Why?
And then throughout the entire meal, that you get pieces of this octopus.
No, I don't want to eat this. I don't.
In a variety of different forms and flavors.
No.
Different parts. It's delicious.
Just no. No.
Delicious. Don't knock it till you try it. I've had it with fish too. Like some kind of fish where they present you the big fish and then they kill it. Then like they gave you the fish in a sushi platter, but the fish was still alive. I mean, technically, because like his eyes were moving a little bit.
No.
So he was watching you eat him.
That's horrifying. That's not just weird. That's like super cruel. Watching you eat him. That was a scene from The Boys. They did that in The Boys as a where they made him eat the octopus and he could read his mind, and so he could hear the thoughts of the octopus that was getting eaten. It was so awful.
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, I don't have anything that can top that.
So what have you eaten that's weird, Steve?
I make a point of not eating weird stuff generally.
I know you
so,
don't generally eat weird things.
I don't remember how I answered this question when it came up before. Have I ever eaten anything really weird?
I've had the alligator.
Yeah, I
You
don't
know,
think I've eaten
kebab.
anything weird. I'm sorry.
Before.
To disappoint you.
I believe you, Steve.
Yeah.
You don't like weird food. You finally
No.
started eating
So-
chicken. You branched out.
Yeah, I branched
So
out
wait,
to chicken.
oyster
I've
muscle.
had oysters. I guess
you
I've had
muscle?
some of that before in the past.
Like
and
where,
That's
where are we
about it.
talking in terms of the spectrum of weirdness?
I've
here?
had some
Of, like,
octopus, but it
mainstream?
wasn't alive
Yeah,
and looking
you
at
had
me.
turtle meat before.
No, I don't think I had turtle meat. Octopus
deer
is probably
meat?
the
Deer
weirdest
meat?
thing.
Deer meat.
No, the closest thing
had
I've eaten to
deer.
the closest thing I've had to food that that I killed was like bass, like or some fish or something. Some fish. I've eaten fish.
Seitan, anything like
I've
that.
eaten seitan. That's not weird.
Is it?
I don't know.
Especially when they have seitan
Tastes weird.
steak.
Yeah, well, that's true. Okay, the
I
seitan
had
is
seitan
weird.
steak.
Yeah,
So
that is
it's
weird.
like, is this steak or is this real?
No one ever mistakes seitan steak for real steak.
No, they
Nobody.
don't.
Nobody ever.
I mean, on the first bite, a little
No,
bit.
that's a hard
I
no.
Just the umami, is that it? You just
No.
get overwhelmed with umami, and so you're like,
I just like, whoa, this is great. And then, is this really steak? And then I realize, oh well, not quite.
you just
After the
look at it,
second or
it's not
third
going to
bite.
look like steak.
Look, you don't. If you go to Horizon, in South Street, it's like a second floor on like the back of South Street. They had it's kind of like a fine dining vegan, vegetarian. I don't know if it's vegan,
Yeah.
but vegetarian place. You can order that, and you tell me if that doesn't taste like steak.
Nice. Okay. Give it a shot.
I'm throwing that challenge down to you.
Okay.
All right,
If it's
Steve,
still
you got to
around.
go to South Street now and
Yeah. Well.
eat fake meat.
Well, if you go to South
Okay.
Street and if you're gonna do if you have to do it, I'm gonna put a strong
know.
recommendation
If I
for
have to.
Queen and Rook's Cafe.
Oh, that sounds
Bring the
cool.
kids because it's a board game place with every possible imaginable board game you can imagine.
That
They also
sounds
serve-
fun.
I believe they serve
Yeah.
alcohol there too, so you can enjoy. Bring the kids. It's a typical like $7 for an hour kind of thing, and they serve delicious vegan food.
Wow.
Strong
Are you a
recommendation.
vegan, Kotaro?
No, I am not. I
No.
just enjoy
Okay.
good food.
He's
There you
no,
go.
he's a foodie though. We could talk about just an episode about
Oh,
food stuff.
just food all day long.
and
we just talk
the-
about food.
Yeah, Kotaro has
I'll
great
be
recommendations
on
for
board.
restaurants in Philly. Especially,
Nice.
he knows all the good ramen places too. The ramen place we
don't-
went
I-
to
I-
was his recommendation.
Yeah, that was good.
I don't. Yeah,
We
I
have a
don't
good
any-
ramen place out here, though. Surprisingly,
I know it's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
one down
it's-
in Willow Grove.
yeah, it's
in the
actually really
suburbs.
good.
It's like
bizarre.
but it's like a weird fusion. It's like what is
I don't
it
know.
called?
It's good though. It's called
It's
Momoyama or something like that.
Mhm.
no, is
Is
that
that
the one that's
right?
out here? Oh, it's
Yeah.
anyway. It has a weird menu, I think, but it does have like good ramen.
Look, we're at this point with ramen that we now know what a decent ramen tastes like,
Yeah.
right? I think the world is ready for like regional ramen because that's what makes
Regional
ramen great in
ramen,
Japan. Now we need a Philly ramen. We need a Jenkintown's ramen.
Jenkintown ramen.
Why not?
Yeah,
Right?
why not? We have a
I don't know.
Jenkintown.
I don't know. Like I can
Indian
imagine
food.
cheese, whatever the meat for cheesesteak is. I can imagine that being like the key ingredient, or I can imagine
Oh my
something
God.
else. But
Well, I
um,
mean, we had this is. I mean, obviously not Japanese or anything, but I remember the cheesesteak egg rolls
yeah,
Oh, those are
okay.
good.
in
Sure.
Drexel's campus from the food trucks. Super popular, but still out of those things.
No, those are tasty. Those are
They
good.
are because
yeah.
because meat, cheese, and deep fried anything is good.
So good.
I know.
Yeah.
So now we're just getting
Exactly.
hungry.
So I'm
Now
just
we're
saying,
gonna have to have a snack.
Yeah, after
like,
this. So
what is considered like a Jenkintown's delicacy?
There is not one.
what?
Just
Well, what's the best restaurant in town? What's one of the best restaurants in town?
So is Jenkintown
We got-
known for any food?
We're
No.
known for some
Inventions.
restaurants. It's known as like a restaurant town. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I still don't even understand that. We don't have that many
Because-
restaurants.
That's a lot for half a square mile or whatever. It's like we have. I mean, I got Pizza Whale, which is really good for pizza. We got Lily's, which is really good Indian food.
Could
And,
you imagine? People travel far and wide to find good regional ramen.
really, like in
Yeah,
Japan.
so
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I don't think
There-
is there such
things-
thing as
I don't- I
regional
forgot.
ramen in the United States though? That's what I mean. Like,
I don't know. That's the question
I mean,
I'm
I
posing
think that
out
New
here
York
to
is
the,
probably
to
different.
the world.
I think New York is probably different than Philly, right? Or
Yeah,
no?
but New York is no. You know what's hilarious about New York? Although they do serve really good ramen, they have really good ramen places. But when you go there, these ramen places are not judged by the quality of their ramen. Like they say, yeah, sure, the ramen's great, but have you tried their Peking duck?
Oh
Like
no,
everything is about whether or not the Peking duck is
really?
good.
Okay.
Like I forgot the wrap. It's the thing is called, but like that is the judge of like whether or not. And some places I get it because like in Japan, like a ramen place is sometimes judged by the gyoza,
Yeah.
the fried dumpling
Oh, nice.
that it's known for, which I don't necessarily agree with, but like usually you can tell if a good ramen joint is good if there's like a long line. Like I know that that's generic to say, but like like people are waiting like hours before it opens just to enjoy that ramen.
Hmm.
So
Nice.
Nice.
I would love my hopes and dreams in that sense would be in America. You would find a destination in Jenkintown, for example, where they make this one special type of ramen that only you can find in Jenkintown.
That is
That would be
so interesting and peculiar, but okay.
Well, my initial dream was like Philly, but like who knows, right?
Yeah.
Nice. All right, Steve, I think we should wrap it up.
Okay, we're gonna wrap it up. So, well, if you would like to follow what we're doing, you can follow us at the JenkintownArtsGarage.com, and you can subscribe to this very podcast at jagcast.show. We're also on the Facebook at Jenkintown Arts Garage, on Instagram at Jenkintown Arts Garage, and on YouTube as, guess what, Jenkintown Arts Garage. It's very easy to remember. All the links today for the stuff we talked about, I'll try to gather them together, put them in the show notes and in the description below if you're watching the video form. And I just want to say thanks a lot, Kotaro, for coming out to the show again. It's been a lot of fun. And can you tell people where they can find your stuff before we get out of here?
You can find me at Tomato Boy LLC. Oh, sorry, tomatoboy.co.
There's the website right there.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I have a LinkedIn page, but pretty much every bit of the socials I've been kind of low key avoiding. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Okay, excellent.
Nice.
So I guess
very
that's gonna,
good, very good, very good.
I guess that's going to be a wrap for episode 120. I think we did pretty good, Chrissy. What do you think, Kotaro?
I think we did great.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to watching Chrissy with a thumbs up. Nice.
Thumbs up.
Okay, well, with that, I guess we'll call it a show. See you next time.